Jumpers of Internet, and welcome to this first episode of FGGTT Time Trial, which is actually Embrace the Weirdness Week. And yeah, the camera is very weird on my Hopper limousine, and you might think it's not that weird, actually. You'd be right there. I am starting off pretty tame. These cars will get weirder as we go along, at least in my opinion. I mean, my idea of the weirdest car may not be your idea of the weirdest car and all, that's just the nature of these things, but nonetheless, I think taking a limousine of basically a Mitsubishi Jeep around this circuit should be quite amusing, so let's see. I also think it may be reasonably quick. I'm not pinning my hopes on it going like supercar beating, but it should have at least some pace to it, and I'm forgetting how to change gear. Yeah, I needed to change to third there, but I just, how? My mind wasn't sure what to do. It's times like this when you really wish you had not. I'll also mention this is the splittable version of a limousine, and I'm going for a bit of off-roading, which is okay. But I should have shifted up there. Either way, we do a 3 laps, so should be fine. There's a fair bit of understeer, however, Fronty Muscle also had understeer, and I think that did okay. Oh, there goes my windscreen. It was bound to happen sooner or later, to be honest. I'm surprised it happened this late round the course. Anyway, on we go. I think that's third gear. So, here we go. Brake before the go poop sign, don't want to step in that. It's actually got very good turning. Same as the Cadillac limousine in Forza, the turn in on it is actually surprisingly good. It's just, once you're mid-corner, it doesn't really deliver how you expect. This has the advantage over that Cadillac limousine in that it is all-wheel drive, not front-wheel drive, so there'll be less understeer just due to the inherent drive line of the thing. And I was seeing the green on this checkpoint back there, and I was thinking, oh no, the race is finishing, and I did a terrible one, but no, it's not finishing, because we have other ones. Right, I'm not going full throttle here, but I was going kind of half, so I wouldn't veer off. Come on, shift up here. I'm going to try shifting down into second, taking a full lock to the right. It worked better than it could have, but it wasn't ideal. I think I need to turn in a bit earlier there. And that's what I mean there. You just saw in that corner there. Mid-corner is where these cars really lose out compared to shorter wheelbase things. Although the stability has been good, it's just not proven itself to have the steering. I don't know how to say it. Steering at that particular part of the corner. And that has punished it. Although, I do feel this lap is a drastic improvement on the first lap, so we should see that. And I feel like it's a car that you can ever get better with. It doesn't feel like it's a car that ever bites you in any particular way, so that can only help me as well. Ooh, my windscreen almost went up there. And I'm not shifting down because naturally this is a big downhill. I'll just get my revs up really easy, and it wasn't a point really. On the final lap, if I need to shift down, I will, but I decided at that point it wasn't worth it. Oh dear, gotta slow down. Like then I did shift down. Come on. Come on, old thing. You can do it. Ooh, big bumps. Our client won't be very happy with that service. Oh. I somehow shifted into the correct gear. I'm not sure how that happened, because I didn't even know what gear I was in. I thought I was in a different gear to what I was in. And up we go. I guess a low pedestrian, let's say, speeds I seem to be going at are probably helping. as I did run it a bit wide there, but not so wide I couldn't recover it. Yeah, 1:37. I don't know how these times are comparing, but it does feel like I'm going quite fast, well respective of what this vehicle is. Oof, doing a bit of off-roading there. Got the front end off, but again, it doesn't feel like I get off so much that I'm gonna properly detriment my time. It feels like I have enough potential. I'm going to shift down here because, well, I'm clearly not going to get enough momentum back into this corner and keep it in this gear until I need to shift up. There we go, just before 5,000 RPMs. Keep going. I think I'll have one more shift before we finish, or I won't actually. And my second lap was the best. So, the splittable hopper limousine came about 10 seconds ahead of the base model Pigeon I used for testing. So, it does have some potential, you know. Given the craziness that this car originated from, it could be worse, let's say. It did have a lot of understeer after all. So, to pull a time like that, we're still beating something. Although it is still 12 seconds below fronting muscle, you'd expect that, you know. This is not sporty in any kind of sense of a word, and it's a bit more than that down on the General Toaster's Sylvester. So, all in all, I think a decent showing in terms of how wildly ridiculous this vehicle is. But as I say, it is not the most wildly ridiculous vehicle we will have today. Okay, so here we have the Crash Hard 8x8, and I'm not sure if I want to use this because it's ridiculous, or because I just want to show off how ridiculously overpowered my PC is, which has got a 33% overclock over the stock speeds. Ridiculous stuff, but anyway. Yeah, I got the ram plow to make it more ridiculous. The interior is a little ridiculous. I mean, what can I do? By that I mean the way it sees things from the interior, the way it reflects things. I can't seem to get a better view though, so I guess we're going to have to use this. Anyway, let's see. Alright, so the engine, well, decided it weren't starting, and when I was on the interior, it decided it wasn't going to give me the tachometer. Oh dear, I forgot how to brake. It's these gears, there's so many gears on this. Thankfully it can just go right through the sand like such. It's intriguing because what I had before when I was testing this, it was a dual clutch. I didn't think of the other variants I may be ending up using. There's just not much weight on the back. I'm noticing that. And I'm on full lock now, by the way. So, yeah, it's not that. It was not that I wasn't using much lock. Same, full lock to the left here. It just doesn't get round corners. I thought that limousine was quite bad. I thought fronty muscle was quite bad. More so. This is even more so quite bad than them. I think if I just accelerate now, hopefully it'll latch onto a gear. Well, I had to shift down because otherwise it would have taken about 10 years to latch onto a gear, but even so, I feel I'm getting somewhere with it. I would be quite amazed if I beat that Pigeon. And now what do I do? Oh. Right, I don't know how to control my own game. Oh, now the wheels want to turn. The wheels were being funny there. They were being really weird, like they were saying, oh, we don't want to turn, ha ha ha, so we won't turn. Right, flick that around, try resetting the camera with this controller if I can, while I'm also using a wheel to control the thing. First lap was never going to be the quickest anyway, so, you know, at least we've had an odd problem on the first lap rather than another lap, although now I've probably cursed it just by saying that, because that's how these things work. Come on, full lock here, and it, yeah, if it looks like it's hitting the rev limiter, it's not necessarily a problem, as you might think, would it? Had to shift down there. I was trying to shift down initially and then it shifted up and then I finally worked out how to shift down. Right, power, it does go like a train. I can't deny that. The outright speed is incredible. Again, it's just like, it goes like a high-speed train, bullet train, I think that's the term I should use. But it's just, round the corners, it goes like a tractor. And there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, I'm using my abilities as best I can to get this round the corners, but it still drives like a tractor. I guess they're related, I guess they're both large pieces of industrial machinery. But then, you could say the same about the pigeon, just a small piece of industrial machinery, and that kind of got round corners. It wasn't that good at it, but you know, it would get round them. Right, I'm going off here at the same place, actually, as I did before, but amazingly, I vaguely kept it within the track limits there, which is progress. Believe me. This is slow. I believe I was in the 1 minute on other cars. I believe I'm about a minute slower than the... what's it called that I had before, the limousine, Hopper, and this is not an ideal situation. Although, it will be a new lowest time to, I would say beat, but I mean like, a new low point. Thing is, the city bus, I don't reckon can come below this, because although the city bus has no straight line speed, they're actually pretty good round corners when it comes to it. Right, lifting off a bit here so I don't understeer. Yes, I got a bit of lift there and that kind of pushed the back end round. Ooh, but I've got a brake. Got a brake and it didn't feel like I had any ABS, so I just went straight for the wall. Having said that, it's a tough old thing, so I reckon it'll just pull out and, you know, keep going. What's that fell off? I lost some small, probably insignificant piece of metal. I do not know what the front right is in kind of a state, but I can try and still move it round. Oh, bit of a bump there. I did a 151 on the second one. That's probably as good as I'm going to get, but I'm relatively pleased with that at least. You know, it's at least me fighting the vehicle to get what I want and succeeding. Come on. Whoop. Yeah, there we go. 7. Pulling like a train again, up to 70 miles per hour. The brakes could be a bit better, I say that. When I looked, it was 20 tons. 20 tons is not exactly ideal, so yeah. You're not going to get a 20-ton vehicle to move like an Austin Healey Sprite. Oh, round this corner we go. That is unless the Austin Healey Sprite has something going wrong with it. Maybe then it will move like an Austin Healey Sprite. Come on, yes! Now it can pull like a train. My PC has started lagging. Just a bit. Well, third lap was okay, considering I collided with a wall. Oh, is that what I'm thinking for power if I just put this back into neutral? Ooh, now it's telling me I'm having overheating problems. Wow, it has something like 8,100 horsepower, but you'll see there's a surprising lack of damage here. What did get damaged, amazingly, bits of rear bumper. That's the only damage on the entire vehicle. That is one tough ram plow. I mean, what's it made out of? And just as I was about to explain the intricacies of a diamond ram plow, the audio cut out because I didn't have enough SSD space on my main drive, and that was annoying. So basically I've got a vehicle coming up here with no original audio from my voice. Yeah, the Kashira ram plow as it is. But I have to attempt to speak now and somehow make it entertaining. As you saw just then, it's actually a strange vehicle because you can cheat. You can completely cheat. I think the handbrake is on or something. But because it has JATO rockets, you can just rocket propel the thing along even though you hadn't technically started the thingy. Also, visibility is dreadful. I mean, it really got in the way when I was attempting to drive this vehicle. Like you see here, I'm going slower than it could probably technically manage because I just have no idea where the track limits are from that point of view. Anyway, proceeding onwards around the course, you'll see that basically the ram plow is held on by sticky tape by the looks of it. Double-sided sticky tape, but sticky tape nonetheless, and it's not exactly what you want. It just bobbles about all over the place. Not the most sturdy of things, you know. Ooh, as we go over that curb, it really did leap into the air. We've got to, regardless of the fact, try and go quick, and it is a lovely, lovely thing to drive. By the other vehicle we had before this, you'd think it was horrible, but I believe with that vehicle, the ram plow was constantly scraping the floor because in editing I did see how low that sat. This, I believe, still has that little bit of elevation to it, as well as the JATO rockets, obviously, to mean you have plenty of speed on the straightaways. And I'm just cutting corners all over the place because, again, I can't find the track limits. Yeah, I just cut a corner there because I didn't see the corner come up at all. I think the same there. I have no idea just where these corners are going to sneak out of, and it really does delay what's an otherwise very, very quick vehicle. You'll see, maybe we go on this straight and I let it free. All the sheer power it has at its disposal. Although I don't want to do that because there's always the risk of flying to a wall. Having said that, it does brake a lot better than that crash hard truck. And we have fancy shift lights on the dashboard. Why am I only mentioning this now of all times? I think I did gradually get better. I believe my third lap in this was the tidiest, although I could be wrong there. And yes, I do fly along at the end. You've got JATO rockets. What else to do with them? I mean, you'll see I'm a bit tidier. As time went on, I learned to use the edges of the ram plow to better see where I was going. But the visibility is still dreadful and there's no way around it. Visibility is a very important attribute of driving vehicles. It's why sometimes driving buses and trucks in this game can be more enjoyable than driving tightly confined sports cars where, you know, there's just not much window. Burnside lead sled, perhaps, being a good example of that. There's just not much window space on that vehicle, so it's not enjoyable to drive from interior view just because you don't get a great view of the road from it. Regular Burnside being a lot better since it's not had the top chopped down and everything. Anyway, you'll see here, my engine surprisingly is still going. Now, despite the JATO rockets doing that and bumping the wall like so, this is crazy. You'll see there, second lap, a 1:41. It's doing fair enough for the times, and it's not saying bad times. I mean, that must be said. Here, I believe, again, is the best lap I can do, and it's also the cleanest lap. I had to try so hard not to cut corners, because that's a crucial thing here. It can go fast in a straight line, sure, and I'm sure it can even take corners if you're on an exterior view, but I'm staying on interior view because, well, that's what I have to do. with the crash hard vehicle, I had to use exterior view, and that wouldn't have made much difference anyway because, well, the ram plow kind of sits lower than the windows, so it wouldn't have made much difference. But this, well, it blocks them, and it blocks them badly. I am going on, it sounds like I'm obsessed with visibility, and in many ways I am obsessed with visibility, but it's such an important part of a car's drivability. I believe this engine is a tuned version. I believe it's just a crazy powerful Kashira all-wheel drive, really, with the JTO rockets and the plow added, so you can ram cars better than you would otherwise be able to. And this generation of Kashira, I think, handles better than the last one, from my brief experience of driving it. And then here is the point where we finally, or almost the point where we'll finally just give it the beans, see how quick we can go. And it was still slower than the second lap, but this is the lap we're going to count because it was a lot cleaner, a lot less corner cutting went on. And yeah, you'll see, not your normal finishing position. As we go round here, bits of the car all over the place. The thing is just decimated. It looks like someone's having a campfire in the woods, and there's nowhere to go from that, really, other than these are probably not safe. Bits of ram plow stick out. Yeah. I think it's safe to say it might be reasonably quick, but let's not do this again. Next up, we have another vehicle with a ram plow. This is the Ram Bus, and it does have JTO rockets as well, so no need to worry about that. Anyway, I may be lagging in this state, but who's to say, really? This doesn't feel that quick, considering it's supposedly got JTO rockets. I guess it's just the weight of the bus. I mean, sure, it feels quick, but not in the sense that a crazy OP rocket should feel. Brake into here. I know there's going to be some understeer, so, you know, take it round. As I say, though, the bus does handle fairly well. For what it is, at least, and I completely misjudged this corner, so I'm going completely wide. Ugh, had a bit of lag there, but we're out of it now. I am in auto mode. There might be a manual mode to this transmission, but I would do more harm than good by attempting to use it, so I'm staying in auto. Along we go. Right, slam on the brakes in a straight as much as I can line. I think I'm pushing it too hard, and I've almost used all my JTO up, so you know, it's a bit hopeless there. Although, I will say here, it is the nicest JTO rocket-propelled thing I've driven in this episode, so that's a certain takeaway. You know, it just doesn't feel bad, and oh no, our rockets have run out. Perhaps the most hilly part of the circuit. I have a differential I can lock, perhaps, and that seems to be it. Come on. I don't think it's going to be the slowest, nonetheless. You know? We might even have beaten the Pigeon. Nah. Not on this first one, but it definitely has more to give, even without the JTO power. It just has that cornering factor to it, which is proving on this course to be a lot more beneficial than having outright speed. As it goes through the bumps with surprising composure. I guess being a long vehicle helps there. Cut to the inside. That was full lock there, which I really did need to get around the corner as much as I did. Same here, full lock. And I'm saying this, full lock but on a bus, to be as good as it is still impressive. Maybe just not as impressive as it could be. Right, trim across this verge, or say verge. I was on the rumble strip there, so I wouldn't call that corner cutting, because in some way the bus was on the rumble strip the whole time. It sounds ridiculous, but it was. And it looks like my steering is pushing me to the left a bit, but the bus feels okay. Now, I don't know what this is going to be finishing up with. I'm surprised, actually, a little bit the engine is still running after I was JATO grenading it to begin with. Maybe for a lesser grade of JATO rockets than on the Hero or something. I don't know. Or maybe I just get used to using the rockets a lot in a straight line and grenading everything, that then when you don't do that, it seems comparatively very not predictable, long-lived. Yeah, that's probably the best way I can put it. The rockets have sped it up, even with the terrible cornering. I'm going to really push it on this third lap, though. I don't have a reason not to, since if I throw it away, what's it going to matter? Oh, trim these corners, and across we are. Full lock to the right. We can trim that, that's fine. No one's going to care apart from the person who mows the grass. He hates me by this point. Yeah, he mows the grass and sifts the sand, and he hates me for messing up the sides of the track. Which, let's be honest, I spend most of my laps on or off. I don't even know how to structure my sentences anymore with the kind of scenario we're talking about, and I'm going very wide there. But the full lock of the steering did just about manage to save me. So, there we go. It's just here is where the JATO really helped. Although I messed it up at the end of the straight by braking too late, there's just far less pace when you actually really want it. I mean, nonetheless, I've not had a major crash. I think that's what saved the first lap, if anything, from being a complete disaster. A 150... I can't remember the other times right now, but it seems okay. It seems like I mustn't lose with this, basically. It's not going to come at the very back. Ooh, that was a very odd crash. I shattered one of the front windows, but not the other one. And along we go. Yep, this is going to be our middling time, I think. Or no, it's going to be our slowest time. I just got slower. So, the city bus did okay. But yeah, you can see what's happened to it. I've lost a single front window. All my other windows are fine. Everything else seems to be intact. Well, apart from that flap as well. I think this is it's either a ladder... a very large ladder frame or a space frame under there. You know what? Let's actually zoom in on here, if I can get the right key, and then pull this flap off. Let's see what is hiding. Just a bunch of cables by the looks of it. Anyway, it's easier if I just detach myself from the bus at this point. I reckon what was happening was, I was cutting these corners more and more as time went on, because I knew I could get away with it and not get an invalid time due to, well, that wheelbase. And when I do cut across like so, I'm guessing it lifted the wheel since it was using an open differential, and it wasn't putting the power down, which sounds like nothing, but when speed is the car's or the bus's real lacking area, it does make a difference. But it wouldn't matter anyway, because the first one with the JATO rockets was always going to be the quickest, since it just ran out after that. Anyway, it has a lot of power, just not a lot for this weight of vehicle. Look, 320 or something. Let's see if I shift it back into neutral. Yeah. So 344 I saw, close enough to 320, and I think that's all to say. Also, it does look like it's got no rear seats. Watch your step. Well, where would you even be watching your step to? I don't know. Either way, on to the next vehicle. And from the very big ram plow rocket propelled thing to the very small, it's not that noticeable from these particular angles, but this vehicle is an absolutely tiny remote controlled vehicle. I don't think it has an interior cam, if I remember correctly, but we can use bonnet cam, yeah. So I'm going to use that. And I believe there's just one gear. I believe it is an electric remote controlled vehicle. Oh, I think the front wheels were lifting off the ground there because I just felt like I was getting no steer. Either that or I need to steer a lot more than I was. Either way, we're back on the course again. This is the on-road grip remote control car. It comes in a pack with a few of them. So, you know, I decided this would be the most appropriate. I know it's about weird vehicles and all that, but I wanted to get just one remote control car. And I decided, hey, why not take the one that's properly meant to go round racetracks around here? Ooh, it feels, the thing about this, it feels like an absolute missile, but I know I'm not going that quick. I know it goes out about 50, maybe 60 miles per hour. So, yeah, it's not wild. It does have some speed to it, but not crazy speed. And yeah, 51, 52 it was maxing out there. As we trim that. Ooh, bit of oversteer. It's just so fun to correct it though, because it's not so much oversteer it feels dangerous as I go on a rumble strip, which are surprisingly not chucking this in the air in a wild manner. This, I think, has the bus beaten as I throw my steering wheel about. That was a bit of a bigger curb. Yay! On the power end. We're kind of maxing out. Oh dear. I needed to lift off there to get around the corner, and then there was just suddenly a bit too much cornering where I didn't really want it. 155. Could it be that this is going to get beaten by a JATO bus? No, we cannot have that happen. Oh dearie me. Looks like that's the second lap. Thrown away completely. I'm sorry, I just got a bit carried away really. Like, we will not have this. And apparently we will have it. But I just feel I can't have a bus beating this on the leaderboard. I can understand if this wouldn't be the quickest thing in the world. But to be beaten by a bus of all things? Oh. Come on. There we go. I mean, this lap is good as thrown away now. But it's made a good practice one for just what I can get away with. Whee! Right, so it feels like a rocket-propelled grenade, but it just isn't. That's the strangest thing about this vehicle. It just isn't so quick as you might think. I think what I need to do, I need to be faster, not the vehicle. If I'm quicker, if I work my responses, work my arms a bit harder at these corners, I can get around them. And I also need to realise how late I can brake, because there's probably like 1 kilogram behind this or something. So it is not a heavy vehicle as I go cutting corners like the dirty cheat I am. Well, that's me working a bit too hard, perhaps. I ended up cutting corners, but it could have been worse. I mean, I could have, dare I say it, spun the vehicle again. And now I've probably cursed it for the 3rd lap, but either way. I just love the feeling of pace as you do get going in this. And it can't quite be rivaled. So that was slow, about 15 seconds slower than my first lap, but so I expected it to be slow. Having a bit of a lift here. Just enough to get me round the corner. Same here. Once I feel it's going wide, I need to lift, and oh, that could have been a much worse crash. Thankfully, the vehicle was all in all quite friendly about it, and that it was not friendly about. That it took badly. I did cut a corner there, but hey, if I go quick on this one, I'll still accept it. Not like I will have saved any time with the way it leapt into the air. Come on. Oh dear. Going a bit wide. Yes, floor it, and hope. Brake. Maybe I need to tap the brakes a bit more. It's just the weight transfer as well, and the suspension isn't totally what I would like. Come on. Right, flooring it. Yes, lovely. Lovely, lovely. Right, I'm going to brake really late. Still not late enough. Well, I'm on the grass, but I'm not cutting a corner, so, you know, I won't count that as corner cutting. I'm kind of struggling quite a lot. Yep, there we go. Feels like, all in all, I am setting a good time, though. I've been on the grass a little, but not at the entire detriment of speed. Yep, I think I can go full out here. Again, I'm not particularly cutting a corner, I'm just going very wide. And that was our quickest one. So, here we have the vehicle. And yes, I did choose a pink colour. But, above all else, for something that topped out at 52, it did okay. But it's still bottom of the leaderboard, and I guess that's to be expected. My visibility was limited, and it isn't near as quick as it feels. I was fully aware of that when I started driving it. It's actually slower than the bus, which is actually ever so slightly slower than the Pigeon, the test vehicle I used. And they're the slowest vehicles on the leaderboard now. So, you know, sadly this occupies a very bottom spot. But it's all what was to be expected. I mean, until we have like a 5 horsepower vehicle or something, I think that's going to be the way it stays. Actually, speaking of power, how much does this have? No, I'm not getting there in drive. I need to go back to neutral. Impressive. For something that doesn't weigh much to have 100 horsepower, but then it probably does actually weigh like 400 kilograms, and it's just the way it is calculated. Anyway, as I was saying, for something about 4 horsepower, yeah, hold that thought. Okay, so here I have got the Hawk 3 pedal car in dark white, as this colour is actually called, and you'll see, it's actually got pedals and everything that go to power the rear wheels. Yeah, the remote control car might not look so bad now, actually. And I think we need to reset it. That was it. Because it's just, I had to show you this. I've got my brakes on, I've got my foot brake on, and it just rolls forwards, and then it stops. So, I'm not a dirty cheat for once. This car wants to cheat. I mean, you could just say I'm a dirty liar, but then I welcome you to go and try it yourself, and it will do it. The same. Wait, it's still going. Right, I think I can only do what I know best. Just start it immediately. Right, this should work. Come on, I can get maybe 15 miles per hour out of this, so I do not reckon it's going to be as quick as a remote controlled vehicle. But hey, you know, it's fun to have cars that are a little different. And it does have an interior. I mean, I don't think it was made in that much time, so the fact that they could get an interior of any kind out is impressive. It's obviously designed to resemble a Morgan three-wheeler. If you've seen that car and seen this car, the resemblance is uncanny, really. Only the Morgan has perhaps a more distinctive livery if you get the stickers on that. And this is just, well, dark white. That's it. Oh no, uphill! My biggest enemy both in real life and in the Hawk 3 pedal car. You know, oh dear. It's whenever I walk anywhere, just up hills. Come on, seriously. I don't know. So, how's the weekend? I feel like I'm making my poor race driver exhausted after having to go through this. Are you kidding me? We're already at this kind of time, 1 minute 20 coming up to, and it feels like we're only halfway round the lap. The first lap, that is. The remote control car didn't have that much speed, but within its speeds, it moved very, very quickly, and it had a lot of turning on the corners. I wouldn't say this handles well at all, but it feels like it handles well, because I'm never going quick enough to actually hit the limits of the vehicle. The same as a lot of the Ford Anglias and the old taxi and things in Forza. The cars aren't necessarily good handling vehicles, but they go so slowly, they feel like that. I don't know if this even has 1 horsepower, to be quite honest about it. It's got 1 manpower. I think that's what we can sum it up to. Or then, no, actually, he's pedaling with his feet and his arms, not his... his arms. I don't know how you can pedal with your feet and arms. It doesn't make any sense. He's pedaling with his legs and feet, not his arms and hands. So yeah, that's only half of his limbs put to use. Unless you also factor in his mouth, then he could... mouth and neck, then he could use them to pedal as well, I guess. So yeah. We're not even using the full man for power. Oh dear, this big hill. I'm not sure the vehicle will even make it up here. Being the intelligent planner that I am, I did not test this at all before right now that I'm driving it, so yeah, there's a chance it won't make it up. Foot to the floor! Or foot to the pedal! More preferably. So we are going very slow. I'm gonna gradually turn it in, try not to lose too much speed. Okay. No! We're scooting down! So embarrassing! Now, coming up. Will we make the hill? Probably not. Okay. We're losing too much speed. I don't think I can do it. We're holding 11. 11 miles per hour, is it enough? No. Well, I've given the vehicle a fair chance. I've given it a fair enough chance, but it's just not able to do it. Like, look at it scoot along. It's just so helpless. And I've finally worked out how to get the cannon into the race itself. You just have to go onto the menu and do it, because you can't do it when you start the scenario kind of trial thing. But anyway, thought I'd show you this. It's not exactly balanced. A lot of weight over the front end. Again, just reset it again. You'll see it's a bit better there at showing it. The back end just bounces right up in the air. Wait, did I see the beam logo? I'm sure I saw like the beam logo hiding somewhere. Yeah, if you just look near that part where it steps down. I don't know if I can zoom in. Well, anyway, apparently I'm starting now. Wait, I'm not going to cheat. You know, but I think you saw that as well as I did. And it just went, even though it hadn't started yet. So I kind of had to manage my gearing. And this is slower than the pedal car. as far as top speed goes, but it gets there immediately. Will it make it up the hill? I don't know, and my hopes are not very high. It sounds like an old cannon, though. Come on. We can do it. I mean, how am I going to find stuff to say? Hopefully there's a bit of downhill here where we can get it up to speed. Certainly looks that way. Oh, 14 miles per hour. I remember the top speed of this is something like 15. Same as a pedal car, but you have to get on a downhill to get that. So, yeah, it's not exactly quick. And this is a bit of an uphill. This is scaring me even in a way it shouldn't. We're already being slowed down, really. I do not trust in this vehicle. We're going round the course anyway. Bump. I think if we trim that corner. Oh, that was not good. We are getting along. It's not the first vehicle you think of taking around a race circuit, but then that's exactly why I do it. Because people need to know how quick a cannon is. You know, how else would we realise how to invade an enemy country? Although I think buses with ram plows are more effective weapons. You know, this is useful consumer advice here. What would the military do in this country if it weren't for my good advice? Anyway. Does the military still use cannons? I don't know. Probably not. They're probably just not as effective as heat-seeking missiles. Wow, the revs this will go up to, though, it's revving almost to 9,000 RPM, according to the RPM gauge. That is ridiculous. That's like VTEC level. And I'm cornering flat out as well. Not many vehicles can claim to do that. I think this is rear-wheel steer only, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange vehicle from that perspective. If I go up on here, yes, I've not slowed down too much, although maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe just it slowed me down at all, which would be the problem. Come on, along we track. This is literally like walking speed, though. I imagine you could walk quicker than this. My fast walking is probably quicker than this cannon's going right now. So go. So yeah, go on, and we will hopefully get to this corner. Initial B. Initial beam. Well, the thing is, whatever cars are in that show are sure going to be quicker than my cannon. Because I just don't have anything to say anymore. It's not even one lap, and I've exhausted what I was going to say. Will this make it up the hill? I'm going to try and give it the very, very best shot I can. But with the Hawk 3 pedal car, I tried everything I could and that just wouldn't get up the hill. So there's always a chance that this won't as well. Ooh. Just knowing what awaits me is so much more terrifying. I am foot to the floor as well, just so you know. If you look at throttle in the bottom left corner, 100. Pretty much 100% of the time I just don't need to brake with this because it's so slow that, yeah, brakes would be overall pointless unless you need to get it to stay still. There is a handbrake, I believe. I'm not sure if this even has brakes. The pedal car didn't. Right, so I'm going to go in here and hopefully we'll make it up. Actually, this does seem to be making it up. Yeah, this seems to have infinite torque, or, well, maybe not infinite, but it has enough torque to make it up. Even though the power is completely hopeless, the torque is definitely here. And we are able to make it round in a apocalyptically slow time, but a time nonetheless. How quick can we go down here? Because this is probably the biggest downhill on the entire circuit. Come on, 14 miles per hour. We're revving over 9,000 now. I'm not sure it really is. There's probably just a pair of guys or girls behind it pushing. or, well, genderless pod plants in my case, pushing it along. And we will get across the line. It's not even going to do a 5.5 minute time, is it? It's that slow. Well, I don't think I've got much more to say, so I'm going to just join you again at the end of the overall run. Okay, so I'm not the Core2 duo, you know. I'm YID7167. That is my new channel name, just so you know. But anyway, the second lap, I ran tightest to the inside of the circuit, and that's why it was quicker. Simple as that. The third lap, I kind of got distracted and took wider lines, and it got slower. I even cut a corner there, and... well, not cut a corner, but I mean I jumped the curb, that's the term, and still, 5:25. It's the slowest time that's not a DNF, but still, you know, it isn't a DNF. The thing is, the old Canon made it, and it's not at the bottom of the leaderboard, so it's something. Well, it is at the bottom of the leaderboard, but it's not the bottom car. What was it to fire this thing? I don't know. Anyway, let's just randomly smash keys. No, I've done more damage than good. It didn't feel bad. Right, let's try out the rear wheel steering. Yep, definitely just rear wheel steering on this. And I'm not doing a very good job of showing it with my mouse going all over the place. But anyway, there is one more vehicle to try. And for the final vehicle, I have the CRD Monster Truck. It was actually just uploaded as I'm recording this. And this is the no texture livery. It hasn't actually broken on me. Just, it's designed that way. You'll see there it says to clear the cache, which I'm sure... if you have played BeamNG for a long while, you will get that joke. Anyway, let's start. I believe it should be... oh. I've just realised it is an automatic. Probably too late, but you know. And apparently I have an update available. It always comes at the most inconvenient moments, that. And why is this lagging so much? Come on. I can see my front wheels. It's craziness, but they're orange, and then that brings a whole new... I see my front wheels. I see my front tyres, but they're orange tyres. It's like, what is this, Little Big Planet? I mean, you know... wait, what else had orange tyres? The vehicle that I think I was doing kind of a tutorial. That was back when I had my Lenovo PC. I was doing a tutorial on brickwigs, and I gave the thing, I think, sponge wheels. These just tend to snap a bit more than I would like. I'm struggling to follow the track as I would like to. It's kind of snap, but it's not snap due to a lack of grip. It's snap due to just, whoa, the suspension being all over the place. I should probably try and brake more in a straight line, because knowing how this thing is, it's just a large off-road vehicle fundamentally, and it has the handling of a large off-road vehicle. But this is beyond even just being large. It is a ridiculous off-roader. I mean, I weren't going to use this body style as well, I'll say that now, but I had to when I saw the no textured version. It was just so incredible. The lap time isn't half bad actually, given how all over the place this has been. Whoa, come on, stabilise. Thank you, I think all-wheel drive system, I believe it is. Either that or it's just better balanced than I would believe. I'm not noticing particular understeer. Whoa. I wouldn't say it's as nice as a Kashira ram plow though. A Kashira ram plow is definitely nicer, although it is a significant amount better than fronty muscle to drive in terms of oversteer, understeer balance. Just fronty muscle actually had sports suspension, so despite all its struggles, I'm pretty sure we're not going to beat that car. And this vehicle has its own struggles as well, although you'll see here I am getting control of it. Visibility where I need visibility is poor though. You know, I have very good visibility in certain areas, but the areas where I have very good visibility are generally areas I don't need visibility. Oh dear, I've got to just lift off here so I can even see the course and where it's going. Come on, full lock here, and a struggle to make it round the corner. Right, that corner hopefully needs redoing on the last lap, but even if I don't, I mean, at least I've not had a really catastrophic crash this time. Because, you know, it's that kind of moment you just have to say what could possibly go wrong on this finishing straight. Come on, I won't give up on you now. I'm going to try and get you to the end. 1:32, I'm pretty sure that's a quick time as far as this course goes and everything around it. I think it's just because it's got such a sheer amount of power and it can go over like these curbs and it doesn't worry about them at all in the same way other vehicles do. Like the RC car, you would see that would leap when you hit one of the large curbs, and that in turn would slow it down. The Cannon, well, if you didn't take an ideal driving line, that just had no power and that would slow it down. This, well, basically it's so hard to get it right. I've messed it up. As I say, the second lap was at least okay, but this lap is gone now. I just overdid it into that corner, I think, on the brakes. It's all flexing around on the suspension and I don't know what to quite make of it, really. I'll have to double check the leaderboard just at the end of this lap and then I can see how it compares, because I honestly don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure a 1:32 is not half bad time. You'll see here though, it was half sheer luck that I got a time that good. I mean, I somehow managed to keep this pointing in the right direction and I somehow managed to get a time out of it. It's a completely different experience though from the Cannon, where I wasn't sure I would even make it up this hill, let alone bobbling about under a sheer amount of power. I'm not sure how much this has. It could have over 1,000 horsepower as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, that was a slow one. But the second lap was good, if not great. So, having just checked the leaderboard, this is, well, between the Hopper limousine, splittable Hopper limousine even, and just below the fronty muscle. But considering this is very much a crazy vehicle, it's done remarkably well. If I just shift into neutral here, yeah, as I say, I think it's just the sheer crazy power when you need it. It might not have nitrous, but it has, what, near 1,500 horsepower, and that is something. So, the third fastest vehicle on our leaderboard now, after the Sylvestia, which was also quicker than I would have imagined, and the fronty muscle, is this. Okay, I do have some more automation vehicles coming, though, after this video, so I can see how they do. Will they be able to beat the monster truck or not? Find out. Find out in the next episode. So stay tuned. But until next time, goodbye. Until another day. A terrible attempt to pull something off.